Good midweek. Happy Wednesday. Glory and honor to our Father Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth, the one in whose hand all time is held, the one who created Israel, his chosen people, and all of the Hebrew Israelite prophets and inspired all of their words. Glory and honor to his name, glory and honor to his righteousness, and who sent Messiah as the atonement for sin of his people from the tribe of Judah, who is not only the atonement for sin, but is the prophet of all prophets, the main prophet of the Father Yah, from whom all other prophets flow, the one who not only is the atonement and the high priest, but is soon to return to the earth in the next few years as king. Glory and honor to Messiah, Yahweh Shah. Glory and honor to Father Yahweh. Greetings to the 12 tribes of the children of the Father, the children of Israel, scattered into the four corners of the earth, having come through slavery, and now awakening and coming back to Father Yahweh, the remnant of Israel. Greetings. Greetings to the 144,000 who are the forerunners of the return of Messiah and the sounders of the message of the three angels of Revelation chapter 14, and the sound of the message of Revelation chapter 18 that is soon to come to pass. Greetings. And to the children of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the chosen ones grafted into the Hebrew stock of the children of Israel through the Messiah, Yahweh Shah. Greetings. Greetings to the chat, Akawan Banya, Brother Love Blue, Mark, Brother Superstar, Brother Lonnie and Sister Joyce, Brother Stephen Kelly, Brother Manny. Greetings to all of you. If you observed the thumbnail, you will observe there are 4 pictures in the thumbnail. Let's first discuss the middle bottom picture of the Hebrew man in the picture. This man, his name is Daquan Jones. Don't mistake him for the football player Daquan Jones. They are 2 different Daquan Joneses. This particular Daquan Jones was released from prison earlier this week. And when he got released from prison, he came to his ex's house and he shot her to death. He shot also his own 6-year-old daughter. She survived. He also killed another family member before killing himself. He was released from prison. He had been violent with her before, and he had threatened her before. This man, just coming out of prison, is not the only man, even in this last 30 days, that was released from prison recently and committed a felonious crime resulting in death. It has happened several times, and it's happening often. Well, what's the point here? The point, brethren, is over the last 400 years, especially, since we have been placed in slave chains, especially by the United States of America. The United States of America has given a studied effort to destroy us, to destroy the Hebrew, to destroy him from within the family, to destroy him within the nation, to completely annihilate him. And those that live through this attempt of annihilation and destruction, to make them into animals by redlining, by drugs, by the prison system, by all systems. This man is an example of us being turned into animals. The Bible speaks about that. Of course, let's first take a look at 2 witnesses to this. First, Revelation, of course, Revelation chapter 13, of course, Revelation 13. And let's go to Revelation 13 and let's talk about verse 7. Revelation 13, verse 7, Revelation 13, verse 7 and 8, actually. Revelation 13, verse 7 and 8, our first witness. Revelation 13, verse 7 and 8. Talking about the beast who is the Vatican. Revelation 13, verse 7 and 8. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. It was given unto him to make war with the saints. In the Bible, the saints are Israelites and people grafted into the nation of Israel through the Messiah. Okay, those are your saints. That's saints in the Bible. So this man is a representative of bloodline, but he has been destroyed from within already by the system. It was given to the man, our enemies, to make war with us and to overcome us. Let's get the second witness. Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20. And this goes back actually to, and I'm going to actually, Mark, you're close. I'm going to go to Daniel 8, but right now I'm going to go to Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20. This goes back to our father's time in Egypt. As our time in the United States has caused us to lose it, our father's time in Egypt caused a lot of them to also lose it. Let's take a look. Ezekiel chapter 20, beginning at verse 1. Ezekiel chapter 20, beginning at verse 1. And going from verse 1, we're going to read from verse 1 down to verse 9. And then we'll skip down to verse 23 just for the sake of time. But read this whole chapter when you get a chance. Ezekiel chapter 20. In fact, do read this whole chapter and really study the book of Ezekiel. As a Hebrew, it becomes much clearer when you understand it from your own history, because this, when we understand who we are as the bloodline, this is part of our history. And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of Yahweh and sat before me. The me being talked about here is, of course, Ezekiel, the Hebrew Israelite prophet of the tribe of Levi. Then came the word of Yahweh unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Israel, and say unto them, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, Are ye come to inquire of me? As I live, saith the Most High Yahweh, I will not be inquired of by you. Wilt thou judge them, son of man? Wilt thou judge them? Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers. And say unto them, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, in the day when I chose Israel and lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, I made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt. I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahweh, your Most High. In the day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Egypt into a land that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands, then said I unto them, Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahweh, your Most High. But they rebelled against me and would not hearken unto me. And they did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them and to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness. And I gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if a man to do, he shall even live in them. So we were being rebellious in Egypt to the point where the Father was going to spank us in the midst of Egypt. But for his name's sake, he brought us out of Egypt first, brought us into the wilderness, gave us his statutes and judgments, and then spanked us. But of course, that wasn't good enough. See where we at right now. Though we're not in ancient Egypt, Mizraim, we are in modern Egypt, the United States of America. And unlike, just like our fathers, we start to act a fool in the midst of our enemy's land. And just like our fathers, some of us, he spanks right here. Our only hope, brethren, is to come back to our God. Our God is not white Jesus. It's not Allah. It's not Jehovah. Our God is Yah, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, the God and Father of Messiah, Yahweh Shah, his representative that came here with divine nature and human nature to pay the penalty for the sins of his people and to be their high priest. Glory and honor to their name. Let's skip down, same chapter. And I'm going to go from verse 23. From verse 23. Let's see. I'm going to read from verse 23 down to verse 26. Again, read this whole chapter when you get a chance. And I lifted up my hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen and disperse them through the countries, because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes, and had polluted my Sabbaths, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby that they should not live. And I polluted them in their own gifts, in that they caused to pass through the fire all that openeth the womb, that I might make them desolate in the land, that they might know that I am Yahweh. They were acting like the heathen. We're now in the midst of this land, acting like the heathen. Let's go to the end of the chapter. Same chapter. Again, read this chapter when you get a chance. Ezekiel chapter 20. Let's begin now, verse 35. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 35. Let's see. I'm going to read from verse 35 down to verse 39. Ezekiel chapter 20, from verse 35 down to verse 39. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith Yahweh Most High. I will cause you to pass under the rod, and will bring you into the bond of the covenant. This is when we have to leave all of these places that we're in and flee, because they'll be wanting to kill us. Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. And I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, go ye and serve ye every one his idols. And hereafter also, if ye will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. Yes, brother. So he's going to purge out from among us the rebels, like this brother. Unfortunately, it's not a glorious thing that our own brothers are being turned into animals in the midst of our enemy's land. But it just shows you the results of our sojourn here. And the result of our sojourn is that you got brothers on that level in jail being turned into animals. Then you got other brothers that are entertainers like Steve Harvey. And I was listening to this sister put a video up of him giving them marriage advice and advice on how to find a man. It's just like Malcolm X said. Entertainers, musicians, actors, comedians in this case, we're considering our leaders. That's where we at, brethren. Daniel chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8, again talking about Rome, getting it close to home now. That was our example in Egypt, and we started off talking about Rome and being permitted to overcome us. Okay, and this is it again. Daniel chapter 8. Daniel chapter 8. I'm going to begin at verse 9. Daniel chapter 8, verse 9, going down to verse 14. Daniel chapter 8, verse 9, down to verse 14. Again, read this whole chapter. In fact, read this whole book when you get a chance. Daniel chapter 8, from verse 9 down to verse 14. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land. This is the Vatican. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of the sanctuary was cast down. And the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. And it cast down the truth to the ground, and practiced and prospered. It cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. And I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice, and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under foot? Verse 14. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. The cleansing of the sanctuary in the Hebrew economy is the Day of Atonement. As we know, also, every 50th year, your first quiz question of the night, every 50th year on the Day of Atonement in the cleansing of the sanctuary, every 50th year, something else happens. Same day as the cleansing of the sanctuary. What happens every 50th year on the 7th month, in the 10th day of the month, in the cleansing of the sanctuary? That's right. It is a jubilee every 50th year. The next jubilee is the 7th month, the 10th day of the Hebrew month in 2027. That would be the 40th jubilee from Messiah. We are expecting things from that time, as we're expecting the return of Messiah by 2032. He could even come sooner, as he did say he would cut it short in righteousness. But that being the case, what we're saying here is, as the sanctuary is being cleansed, and as now we are conscious of that cleansing, this is the key thing here. We are now, the fact that we are conscious that we are Hebrews, that we are conscious that we are the actually true bloodline of Abraham, that we are conscious with that there's feasts, and that these feasts have meanings, and that we are conscious of the cleansing of the sanctuary. That's telling us that the end of this beast is soon to come, which is what brings us back to Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12, and this is just dealing with the Hebrew brother here in the thing here that happened this week, where he killed his ex-wife and his little girl is living. He tried to kill her, but she's still alive. He shot her, and he shot somebody else, and then he killed himself. Revelation chapter 12, verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony of Messiah, Yahweh Shah. So he's permitted to make war with the saints and overcome them, but there's a remnant people that he's especially enraged at. A remnant people, and they are known as the remnant because they're obedient to Yah's commandments, and they have the witness of the Messiah. Now, the witness of the Messiah is the Father's perfect righteousness. That's the witness of the Messiah. Messiah bear witness of his Father's righteousness. So the people not only are obedient to the commandments of Yah, but they're obedient by the righteousness of the Father given by the witness of Messiah. Messiah said to the disciples, I go to the Father, and he shall send you another comforter, even the Spirit of truth, which proceeded from the Father. Then he said again in Acts chapter 1, wait, he said, for the promise of the Father, because you shall be endowed with power from on high. That's the Father's Spirit of perfect righteousness coming upon his people. So let's put it all together for this segment here, for this portion here. So at this time, you got the rebels, entertainers, unfortunately convicts in some cases, and regular people that are caught up in Egypt, caught up in America, caught up in American culture, caught up in white Jesus, and are being lost. Then you have those that are awakening from these things, awakening out of the Laodicean state by the message of the Philadelphia church, which is the message of the 144,000, which is the message of Revelation 18, come out of her, my people, being awakened And we're coming out of what today in the common vernacular is called organized religion. When I say that, most of you understand what I mean. We're coming out of organized religion because organized religion is a man-made religion. As a matter of fact, all the powers that be today are trusting in man. Every political form, every religious form of organization in 501c3 is man-based. The Father's movement is his spirit-based. Okay, so while it appears that many of us are being destroyed by this system, the Father promises us, and all of us are examples of this promise, that there will be a remnant that awakens out of this. There will be a remnant. And that remnant will be known by obedience to the Father, by the power of the Spirit of Father Yah's Son's testimony. Because all of us that claim to be followers of the Father and trusting in his perfect righteousness are counted as obedient. Praise the Most High. That is called righteousness of faith. And the faith is the faith of Messiah. And the faith of Messiah, as the Bible teaches us, is Father's righteousness. Now, on the bottom left side of the thumbnail, you see a Caucasian woman, a child of Yafet, with a Trump hat on, and next to her, another child of Yafet woman. One of those women, the woman on the left, she said, and along with several people, and by the way, I put links to all of this in the description box. There's links to the Hebrew brother and what he did. There's links to this one here. There's links to all the pictures with videos in the description box, and I suggest you really look at those when you get a chance. So now, this woman the woman on the left was representing a bunch of people that all said this: we don't believe the media, we don't believe anything we're hearing, we don't believe whatever we're reading. All we believe is whatever Donald Trump says. That's what all these people said. We don't care what anybody else says. Only people we listen to is what Donald Trump says. That's it. Then they said, if he were to lose the election, it was rigged. And we don't trust the results of any election. If he loses, it's rigged. If he wins, that's the way it's supposed to be. And if he loses, there might be civil war, which is where the lady on the right comes in. The white lady on the right, she is called, at least in this program, you know how they lie, but she's called a Civil War expert, historian, and an expert on the Civil War. And what she said was, if you keep repeating something enough, people will believe it, especially if they want to believe it. That's what she said. You should hear that you should click on that video when you get a chance. She said, if you keep repeating something enough, people will believe it. If you keep repeating something enough, people will believe it. And now you combine what she said with the fact that you now have so-called news agencies, right? And these news agencies pump out material that's tailored to specific audiences, right? So, for example, Fox News' material is tailored to what's called the conservative right in America. And MSNBC's news material is tailored against the conservative right and toward the liberal left, what's called the liberal left. So that if you're leaning and your brainwashing is leaning you toward liberal left, you'll watch MSNBC and believe everything they say. So you'll watch the homosexuals on MSNBC give you news and you'll believe everything they say and they're all right. If you're conservative right, You'll believe everything and you'll watch everything Fox News says, and nothing will be a lie. Everything they say is right. So that whatever you want to believe, it'll be pumped out to you in mass so that you can believe it more. You can believe it deeper. Now, of course, there's a lot of problems with that, but the major problem with that for us is that all we believe is our Heavenly Father and His Word as we're convicted for ourselves. That's all we believe. That's the only way we can avoid being deceived. It's the only way. We're not, see, people that think they're too smart to be deceived are the ones that get deceived the easiest. The only way you and I can be protected from deception is because of our Heavenly Father and His Word. Prayer to our Heavenly Father and His Word. Okay? That's the only way. If you think you know something, you're going to get deceived. Okay? It's trust in your Father alone. David says in Psalm 62, trust in Him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before Him. Yah is a refuge for us. Messiah said, not my will, but thy will be done. He's the only one we can trust to get us through this. He's the only one. Because people are being deceived left and right, brethren. And the only thing you can trust is what the Word tells you. And then we're talking not just in terms of principles of right and wrong. We're talking about in terms of prophetic utterance, telling us what's going to happen. It's the only thing we could trust. But the problem these people have is they're trusting in man. Some are trusting in Rachel Maddow. Some are trusting in Donald Trump, Kamala Harris. They're trusting in man. They're trusting in their churches. And they'll do this and they'll say at the same time, we trust God. Well, for them, they're telling you who their God is. Their God is their church, or Donald Trump, or Rachel Maddow, or whoever's got their ear is their God. It's man. That's right. It's man. Okay. When you're trusting the Most High, none of these people have your ear. Only one has your ear is the Spirit of the Father and His Word. It's our only protection, brethren. All people involved with 501c3 organizations have a problem. Now, they can come out of that problem, and many of them will. We did, right? All of us are examples of people that came out of that problem. But there'll be others. But for most people, these organized religions, these news agencies are just many faceted versions of trusting man. Okay. Now, on the lower right side of the thumbnail, on the lower right side, of course, is a very recognizable Malcolm X, our brother, my brother, Malcolm X. Now, in the description box is a little clip of a discussion about what Malcolm X said about the Civil War. What did he say about the Civil War? Malcolm X said a profound statement about the Civil War, of course, and it was true, 100% true. Now, he said some other things in this clip, but I'm focusing on what he said about the Civil War. Okay? What did he say? He said the Civil War was not fought to free slaves. He said the Civil War was not fought to give you equal rights. The Civil War was not fought to make you a citizen. The Civil War was fought to preserve the Union. And that is stated by Abraham Lincoln himself. The Civil War was fought for the purpose of preserving the Union. Abraham Lincoln had already, it's been quoted, he would not have freed the slaves if he didn't think it was necessary to preserve the Union. So the thing was not to help us, it was to use us to preserve the Union. And what is the Union? Well, there's another video by Malcolm X. I did not put that in the description box, where he talks about, he gives a detailed description of what he calls Black nationalism. And what it means is when I should put it in there. Man, if you ask me for it, I'll give it to you. But I have it in my Malcolm X portfolio. But what it means is it's Black people getting their own land and being in control of their own land and their own destiny and having their own government. That's Black nationalism. And what he said was, when the white folks came here, the so-called white man came here from Europe, it was to get away from the British and establish a white nation. He said it was white nationalism. They wanted the land, which they came and took, right? And then they wanted to establish their own nation, and it was white nationalism. You still have it. Of course, they call it today white Christian nationalism. It's called Christian nationalism or white Christian nationalism, same thing. But that's what now. The Civil War, the Confederacy was the group of white people from the South that had slaves and wanted their own white nation, their own white nationalism, separate from the United States. But Abraham Lincoln he wanted to make sure they had to be brought to heel so that he could keep the whole United States, the whole Union. And that's why the Civil War was fought. No coincidence that more Americans died in the Civil War than in all other wars the United States have been in combined. More than 500,000 people died in the Civil War. Okay, so all these fools talking Civil War have no idea what they're talking about. But what the point, though, is that whenever the children of Yafet don't get what they want, they're willing to kill for it. They wanted a white nation. They'll kill for it. Or if they find that they can get ahead by going somewhere else and taking over, like World War II, they'll do it. Well, I mentioned World War II. Well, when World War II was finished in 1945, and you can look this up for yourself, London was in ruins. The Germans had bombed London to smithereens. Paris, France was in ruins. Germany was in ruins. Okay? These places was in ruins. The big winner that was not in ruins at the end of World War II was the United States. Japan was in ruins, obviously. And after the end of World War II, up to this day, I'm going to be conservative, and I'm being very conservative. The United States has more military bases in more countries of the world than any place on earth. At least, and I'm being conservative, at least 80 countries, probably more than 100. The United States has more military bases. And in old times, they called that garrisons, right? They called it a garrison, where you have your military bases in somebody else's country because that your footprint is there. And they got no choice. So the United States has military bases in at least 80 to 100 countries. That all started because they were the big winners of World War II. They took advantage of their opportunity, as they always do. Okay, they took advantage of their opportunity. Usually it's to obtain wealth, either wealth of land and assets in the land, like oil, or just more money for profits at home in paper, which also shows you too, of course, we know that John F. Kennedy was going to put the United States back on the gold standard. Didn't really work out for him, did it? Because it wasn't to the advantage of the powers that be, of the lamb-like beast that speaks like a dragon. So Malcolm X was saying that whatever, they have their own purposes, and if you have to be used, exploited, and destroyed to get their purposes, that will happen. But see, this is the problem they have. Brother Mark knows what I'm about to say. I'm going to say, Brother Mark, prophecy is against them. They may have plans to take over the earth and have a reign forever. Matter of fact, that's what I put in the title. The title is what's on the dollar bill. It's the New World Order. They may have plans for a new world order, but prophecies against them. At the end of the day, the beast loses. He's cast into the lake of fire. At the end of the day, the false prophet loses. Him with the beast is cast into the lake of fire. At the end of the day, the Messiah and his people stand on the sea of glass with the Father. At the end of the day, we win. So prophecies against them. But what we're seeing now gets up to the top picture. Let's see, August 10th. This is August 14th. About 4 days ago, a bomb hit a school in Palestine. The bomb was launched by the state of Israel. The school was used as a school and as a shelter because of other bombings that had destroyed Palestinian land. In that bombing, the bomb itself was made by Boeing. It's launched by Israel. It was made by Boeing. Boeing's a U.S. company. So you have a U.S. company supplying Israel with a bomb to kill Palestinians. During this year, and I put this also in the description box, from January 1st to, this goes to August 11th, almost 7,000 Palestinians have been killed by the state of Israel. That's just this year. And somebody said, well, what about the Israelis? They got rights. Okay. 7,000 Palestinians were killed by the state of Israel from January 1st to August 11th. The number of state of Israel citizens killed, 335. So there were 7,000 Palestinian men, women, and children killed. 335 from the state of Israel. They probably had more people die from cancer than that. And as far as injuries that didn't result in death, from January 1st to August 11th, 158,000 Palestinians have been injured from January 1st to August 11th. That's just this year. 6,000 Israelis have been injured from January 1st to August 11th. And the news is not showing you all of that. But Bible prophecy does. Here we go. Daniel chapter 11. Daniel chapter 11. Talking about the king of the north, which again is the Vatican, Rome. Daniel chapter 11. Let's see. I'm going to start at verse 41. Actually, let me start at verse 40, because verse 40 is the king of the south being attacked. The king of the south is Islam. And so in Palestine, there's Christians and followers of Islam, a lot of followers of Islam. So let's look at that. This is Daniel chapter 11 from verse 40 down to verse 45. And at the time of the end, that's where we live, shall the king of the south push at him, Ottoman Empire. And the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind with chariots and horsemen, many ships, and he shall enter into the countries and overflow and pass over. That's from Ottoman Empire all the way to now. And he shall enter also into the glorious land, Israel. And many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom, Moab, and chief of the children of Ammon. Edom in the land, we know that, who the Edomites are. Moab and Ammon are the Arabs that are friends with Israel. And he shall stretch forth his hand upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape, that is Africa. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt, that is the assets of the richest continent on the planet. And the Libyans and Ethiopians shall be at his steps. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Question, It's your second quiz question tonight. What tidings are coming out of the east, out of the north that trouble Rome? What tidings, and who given those tidings that come out of the east and out of the north? Specific, directions there. That's right. The 144,000 are going to become a problem. Therefore, he shall go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly make away many. This is where we're fleeing, right? Because they're trying to kill us. Whosoever would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You heard that, right? Whosoever would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace between the seas and the glorious holy mountain, state of Israel. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. That's where we're at right now. At that time, once this is established, which is happening right now, once it's established, that's why you heard already. This is interesting. Have you heard? Let me ask you all, here's another question. This is news. And even if you don't follow the news very closely, let me ask you if you heard this. Have you heard that Iran might want war with the state of Israel? That they might want to bomb the state of Israel? Have you heard that? Test 1, 2, 3. That's one. Have y'all heard that? And have you also heard that the United States already has destroyers that are packed with weapons headed that way already? Have you heard that? Now, let me ask you, here's another question. If you're a country, right, and you're going to make war with another country, do you let the whole world know what you're about to do? Like if you're the United States and you're going to protect Israel, right? Do you let the whole world know you sending all these bombs out? And that, you don't let nobody know. But why are they letting everybody know? Because they want the whole world's focus and attention on this, because they do want war in the Middle East. So that Daniel 11:45 can come to pass. Okay, they do want war in the Middle East, so they're going to bring the Palestinians to heel. They're going to take over the whole land. All right, that's what they're going to do, because it's prophetic. Unfortunately for the Palestinians, in this case, prophecies against them. But then in verse 1 of chapter 12, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble since there never was, since there was a nation. Now, brethren, that is where you and I get delivered. In fact, it says it. There shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered. Daniel's people, the children of Daniel's people, that is Israel, shall be delivered. Everyone that is found written in the book of life. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life shall worship him. We're not worshiping him. So we plan to be in the book of life by the grace of the Father, Yah, under the righteousness of his Father through Messiah. And we plan on being delivered. Praise the Most High, because we're followers of the Most High, Yah. That brings us to the top picture. That's the picture of the school that was bombed out. I put in the description box the article. There's an article there. They were conducting morning prayers in that school that morning when they were hit with a bomb. And at least they said 11 children. They only been able to identify 75 bodies. Mostly it was children in there, because all of the bodies were broken up to smithereens, into pieces by the bomb. The bomb exploded them into pieces. So there were 75 bodies, but they could not be identified. And 11 confirmed children in the school. Bet you don't hear that on the news every night, do you? Got the link in the description box. Check that out. So, brethren, again, we come back to the same conclusion. All we can do is obey the Heavenly Father. Follow the prophetic utterance he's giving us, because it's the only way we will know. Listen for his voice in the spirit, brethren, because he's going to be moving some of us. We know this. Some of us are going to be right here in the heat of the battle, United States of America. Some of us are going to be here. But many of us are already moving and being moved to other places. Not that there's a place that's not Babylon, but there's going to be safer places than the United States. with this type of stuff coming, and we know we serve a God of perfect righteousness, there will be retribution from him. There will be. So you must trust your Heavenly Father, pray to him, study his word, ask for his spirit to guide you as he covers you. See, this is the thing that many don't understand, and many of you do, because I say it all the time. Messiah is our righteousness before the Father. So Messiah is the Lord, our righteousness. Yahweh, our righteousness, is the Messiah. So Messiah stands before the Father as the perfection of sinlessness and righteousness. And because of him, on our place, the Father will send us the gift of his spirit. Does that make sense, y'all? So that's why the Messiah is the high priest that stands on our behalf. That's why he said he stands for the children of our people, because he's before the Father and he represents perfect righteousness, perfect truth, sinlessness. So he stands before the Father having his own blood on our behalf. So he can tell the Father, I die for that brother, my blood on his behalf, my righteousness on his behalf. And the Father honors that, because it's the Father that set the whole system up. He honors that, and then he pours upon you his spirit and causes you to obey him, and causes you to have a want to obey him and the desire to be one with him and to glorify his name. And that's what's going to cause you to be guided out of this. Listen for his voice. Don't make your own plans. I know it's hard. I do the same thing. But I'm also reminding myself, at the end of the day, my wife and I laugh because we know we make plans. We had, like I said, we had no plans to come to Florida. No, zero. Like 0, 0, 0. It was not on the radar. And here we are. And now we're here. We know he sent us here. Okay. And now we know he's going to send us somewhere else. Where? I don't know. I'm making all kind of plans, but he knows best. So look, there's some brothers that are moving to Africa, different nations in Africa. There are places, people going to South America. There are people going to Asia. There's people going to Central America. People are being sent. Brethren, let the Father send you in his time. You might still be here. I might, I don't think I'm going to be here because he's shown me too much already. But yes, exactly. That's exactly right, Steve. Because my mother used to say that all the time in Jamaica. We plan, y'all laughs, because he knows what he doing. See, and this is the thing. Like the Bible says, he is the Alpha and Omega, beginning and the ending, right? He's the Almighty. Well, if he's your Father, if you've decided to follow him and let him be your guide, that means he is not only the Alpha and Omega for the whole planet and all time, he's your and mine Alpha and Omega. He knows the path that he has set for us from before the foundation of the earth. He knows the path that he has made that we're going to journey, and he just needs us to work with him in following that path, and he will make that plain to you. This is the critical time in the history of the planet that we live in, the most critical time, and it's going to get more hectic and more critical as the next few years roll around, especially after this election coming up. It's going to get more hectic and more critical. So pray to the Father. Ask him to guide your steps and your family. Ask him to really bless the ones you love. Pray about your family, the people you love. Pray about them and put them before the Father, that it may be he could reach them before it's too late, right? We all have family members that we want to be redeemed. We want to be standing on that sea of glass with us. Of course, the Father knows that. So pray to your Father. One of the Messiah's disciples was his own blood brother from his mother, from his mother, Joseph's son, but from his mother, he had brothers and sisters. He was the oldest, but he had brothers and sisters. One of those became one of the disciples. Okay. We always want to pray. Remember Philip and Andrew and Peter, they were all brothers. James and John were brothers. So, you want to pray over your loved ones that some of them can come to this truth before it's too late. And that as he guides you, he will guide them. And oftentimes, as you very well know, and I know Castle King knows this very well, you cannot witness to your family. Messiah said, prophet is not without honor except in his own house, among his own people. Your family will not receive you, but your prayers are more powerful than your mouth. Your prayers are more powerful than your mouth. Angels in the spirit are more powerful than you. So you can sick them on your family. You can sick them on your family. Exactly. He couldn't do his own time. So you could sick the angels and you could sick the spirit on your family and let them deal with your family. Let the angels and the spirit from the Father deal with your family. Okay, because you and I will not be able to, because they won't listen to us. Okay, they won't listen to us. Yeah, Brother Mark knows too. Yes, he does. That's right. That's right. So that's what it is. So we just trust in the Father, but that just makes us have to lean on the Father heavier. Trust in Him. Because brethren, one thing about us that are the children of Israel for real by blood, those of us that will stand in the remnant with the 144,000 are those of us that trust in the Father perfectly. See, we have perfect trust in our Heavenly Father. From our experience with Him, His Word, and our faith, we have perfect trust. We're developing that now. If you have perfect trust in the Father, you ain't got to worry about nothing. All of us are learning. It's a learning experience of perfect trust, brethren. So all of these things happening are just prophecy being fulfilled. You know, the Trump tower, the poor brother that killed himself, the bombing of the innocent children in Palestine. It's all prophecy being fulfilled. But ultimately, the Father's going to put an end to this. And as we know, His complete focus is on the development of the 144,000. He has your full attention. Praise the Most High. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May He cause His face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May He lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, brethren.